Every night, a child knocks at my door. He says he's my son who died 10 years ago. It started with a knock. Software gentle, always at midnight. At first, I thought it was the wind, until I heard the voice. "Daddy, open the door." My heart froze. That voice, it was his. But my son died 10 years ago, drowned in the lake behind our house. I buried him with my own hands, and yet night after night he returns. The same knock, the same voice, begging me to let him in. Is it grief playing tricks on my mind, or is something darker standing on the other side of that door? I don't know what's real anymore, but I do know this. Whatever's outside isn't just a memory. It wants something. And tonight, I might open the door. It began on a Tuesday night, the kind of night so quiet it feels like the world is holding its breath. The wind had died. No dogs barking, no cars passing, just stillness. Then came the knock. 3 soft taps on the front door. Calm, polite, but completely out of place. I froze in my chair, a book open in my lap, untouched. No one visits this late. Not in this neighborhood, and definitely not without calling first. I waited. Maybe it was my imagination, but then 3 more knocks. Deliberate. Slow. Just like the first time. I stood, heart pounding in my chest, and walked toward the door. Through the peephole? Nothing, just darkness. I opened the door cautiously. The porch was empty, no footsteps, no car, no sign of movement. I stepped outside. The air was cold, colder than it should have been, as if something had just left or was still watching. I closed the door, locked it twice, and told myself it was nothing. Just my mind playing tricks, but deep down, I already knew that wasn't true. The second night, the knocking came again. Same time. Midnight. But this time, it wasn't just the sound. This time, I heard him. "Daddy, it's me. I'm cold." I froze in place, every muscle in my body locked. That voice, soft, trembling, was unmistakable. It was my son's voice. Eli. 10 years ago, I buried that voice, held it close in my memory. Now it was whispering from the other side of the door. I didn't open it. I couldn't. My legs felt weak. My mouth went dry. I just stood there, staring at the door like it might breathe. "Please, let me in," he said again, barely louder than the wind. I backed away slowly. Tears burned my eyes, but my fear was stronger than my grief. Was this a dream? A cruel trick from some ghost pretending to be him? Or was it really Eli? The knock stopped. The silence returned. But my world was no longer the same. The voice of my dead son had found its way back to me, and I didn't know if I was hearing a blessing or something far more dangerous. The third night, I sat by the door. I didn't plan to. I just ended up there, as if something pulled me closer. No lights on, no TV, just silence and dread. At exactly midnight, it came again. Knock, knock, knock. "Daddy, why won't you let me in?" His voice was clearer this time, closer. It sounded like he was standing right behind the door, hand pressed against the wood. I reached for the handle. My fingers touched the cold metal, trembling. I wanted to open it, to see him, to believe just for 1 second that my little boy had come back. But something held me back. Not fear, something deeper. A warning inside me, like an old instinct screaming that this wasn't right. Because the voice was perfect. Too perfect. No stutter, no sadness. Just still. Too calm. Too practiced. Like something wearing my son's voice. "Let me in, Daddy," he whispered again. "I promise I won't be bad anymore." I pulled my hand away and waited. The knock stopped, but I knew they'd return, and soon. I feared I might not be strong enough to keep that door closed. The morning after the third knock, I opened the box I hadn't touched in years. It sat in the back of my closet, sealed with tape and grief. Inside, Eli's life, frozen in time. His drawings, his toys, his tiny shoes still stained with mud. At the bottom, I found the old photo album. Fingers shaking, I flipped through page after page. There he was, Eli at age 6, smiling with missing teeth. Eli on his bike. Eli blowing out candles. But then, something strange. A photo I didn't remember taking. It was Eli standing by the lake. But older, too old, at least 10, maybe 11. His eyes weren't right, they were darker, too knowing. And in the corner of the photo, almost hidden in the shadow of the trees, a figure, blurred, watching. My breath caught in my throat. I turned the photo over. No date. No note. I stared at it for a long time, then set it aside. Because I knew what I had to do next. I had to go back to the lake. Back to the place where he died. And maybe where something else began. That afternoon, I wandered to the local market, hoping to distract myself. The sun was harsh, but the crowd's noise gave me a strange comfort. Then I saw him. An old man with deep wrinkles and eyes like polished obsidian. He stood quietly beside a stall selling carved wooden masks, traditional African art, but his gaze was fixed on me. Lost in memories? He asked softly as if he already knew. I hesitated, then nodded. Do you know about my son, Eli? He died 10 years ago. The man's lips twitched into a faint smile. Not all deaths are final, he said, voice gravelly. Some souls linger, waiting for a chance to speak again. I wanted to run, but I stayed. He told me stories of the spirits that walk between worlds, of promises broken and debts unpaid. Stories my grandmother once told me. Your son is trying to reach you, he said, but be careful. Not all spirits come with pure hearts. Before I could ask more, he disappeared into the crowd, leaving me with more questions than answers. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept drifting back to Eli, the boy I lost, and the visitor at my door. Unable to resist, I went to his old room. The walls were faded, toys gathering dust, and the air thick with memories. As I scanned the room, something caught my eye. A small wooden box tucked under his bed, a place I hadn't checked in years. I pulled it out carefully, the wood cold and worn. Inside, there was a folded piece of paper and a necklace, an African bead string with a tiny charm shaped like a river stone. I unfolded the paper. It was a note written in Eli's childish handwriting. Daddy, I'm sorry I left. I want to come home, but I'm stuck in the water. Please don't forget me. My heart clenched tight. The necklace wasn't just a keepsake, it was a symbol of something deeper, something tied to the river and the mystery of his death. The past wasn't done with me yet. Something was calling from beyond, and I had to answer. The nights grew darker, heavier, like the air itself was thick with secrets. Sleep became a stranger as strange sounds crept into my room. At first, it was just faint whispers, like the wind playing tricks. But soon the whispers turned into voices, soft, urgent, calling my name. Daddy, Eli... I'd lie awake, heart pounding, trying to convince myself it was all in my mind. But the voices were too clear, too persistent. One night, I followed the sound to the window. Outside shadows flickered between the trees, moving like smoke. I wanted to reach out to call to whatever was there. But fear held me back. The house felt alive with memories I had tried to forget. Echoes of laughter, tears, and loss. I wondered if the whispers were warnings or cries for help. Either way, I knew one thing. The past wasn't done with me. And whatever was haunting these nights wasn't just a dream. It was a shadow of truth, waiting to be faced. Driven by the whispers, I began searching everywhere, old drawers, forgotten boxes, and the attic's dusty corners. I needed answers, no matter how painful. In the back of the attic, beneath a pile of faded clothes, I found a leather-bound journal. Its cover cracked, pages yellowed with time. It was Eli's father's journal, my father's. I hesitated before opening it, afraid of what secrets it might hold, but curiosity pushed me forward. Inside, I found entries about strange happenings in the village, disappearances, mysterious figures seen near the river at night, and warnings from the elders about spirits that don't rest. One passage caught my eye. The river holds more than water. It keeps the souls of those who never found peace. We made a pact long ago, but someone broke it. The balance is broken. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. Had Eli's death been a part of something bigger? I closed the journal, heart pounding. The truth was hidden in these pages, waiting to be uncovered, and I was ready to face it. The next day, I met with the village elder, a woman whose eyes seemed to hold centuries of wisdom and sorrow. I showed her the journal, watching her face tighten with recognition. She sighed deeply. "You have uncovered what many fear," she said softly. "The river's curse is old. Long ago a pact was made between our people and the spirits. But someone broke it. The spirits grew restless." I asked, "What does this have to do with Eli?" Her gaze pierced mine. "Your son's death was no accident. He was caught between worlds, because the balance was shattered. The spirits reached out, confused and angry." My throat tightened. I wanted to scream, to demand answers. Instead, I listened. She handed me a carved wooden mask, dark and intricate. "This mask holds the truth. Wear it when you seek the spirits. Only then will the face behind the mask reveal itself." I took the mask with trembling hands. The weight of it felt heavier than wood, like the burden of truth itself. I knew my journey was far from over. The real battle was just beginning. The night air felt different now, thicker, charged with energy. I couldn't ignore the signs any longer. Lights flickered in the house, shadows danced just beyond my sight. My phone rang once, but no one was there. Outside, the river whispered louder, as if calling me back. One evening, while walking near the water, I saw ripples forming without wind. A cold breeze brushed past my skin, carrying faint voices I couldn't understand. That night, the knocking returned, louder and more urgent. But this time, it wasn't just at the door. Objects moved on their own. Chairs shifted, windows creaked. I felt watched. I knew the spirits were no longer hiding. They were here, close, hungry for answers. Fear mixed with determination. I had to uncover the truth before it was too late, because the veil between worlds was thinning, and soon what was hidden would be revealed. Determined to find answers, I returned to the river at dawn. The water was calm, almost too still, like it was holding its breath. I knelt at the edge, searching for anything unusual. Suddenly, a shimmer caught my eye beneath the surface. A faint glow pulsed slowly, revealing shapes moving just out of focus. I dipped my hand in cautiously, feeling a chill that ran deeper than the cold water. Stories from the village elder echoed in my mind. Tales of a hidden pact and restless spirits trapped beneath the river's depths. I remembered the necklace found in Eli's room, shaped like a river stone. Could this be the key? I reached deeper and pulled up an old, rusted locket covered in mud and algae. Opening it, I found a faded photo. 2 children smiling, one of them Eli. The river kept secrets. Secrets that bound the living and the dead. And now I was beginning to understand why Eli's spirit couldn't rest. The truth beneath the water was darker than I ever imagined. That night, as the moon hung low over the river, the air grew colder than ever. I sat by the window, clutching the carved mask the village elder had given me. Suddenly, a chilling wind swept through the room. The knocking began. Slow, deliberate. Then the figure appeared, not at the door, but inside the room. A shadowy form with eyes glowing faintly in the dark. It was Eli, but not the boy I remembered. His face was pale, almost translucent, with a sorrow that pierced my soul. He reached out, voice barely a whisper. "Daddy, the pact was broken. The spirits are angry. You must fix it before it's too late." Fear and love battled within me. How could I save him now? Before I could respond, the spirit vanished, leaving only the cold silence behind. I knew this was a warning. The haunting wasn't random. It was a call to action. The past was demanding justice. And if I failed, the darkness would consume us all. With the carved mask pressed tightly against my face, I stood at the river's edge as the moon bathed the water in silver light. The air buzzed with an energy I could almost taste, electric and alive. Taking a deep breath, I stepped into the cold river. The water was shockingly icy, wrapping around me like a living thing. Deeper I went until the world above faded away, replaced by a dark, quiet realm beneath the surface. Shapes moved in the shadows, ghostly figures of those lost and forgotten. They watched me with hollow eyes, waiting. My heart pounded, but I forced myself forward. I called out softly, "Eli, I'm here." From the darkness, a faint glow appeared. A small hand reached out, his hand, the lost son I had mourned for so long. But this was more than a reunion. It was a crossing between worlds. The river was no longer just water. It was a bridge. And to save Eli, I had to walk it fully, embracing the mystery and the danger that lay ahead. As I followed Eli's glowing hand deeper into the river's shadowy depths, a heavy silence surrounded us. Then his voice echoed softly in my mind. "Dad, I never wanted to leave you," he said, his tone filled with sadness. "But the pact was broken long ago, trapping me here between worlds." He showed me memories, fragments of that fateful night. How a hidden betrayal led to the river claiming his life. How the spirits, once guardians, turned vengeful. "I've been waiting for someone to make things right," Eli whispered, "to heal the broken promise and set us all free." Tears stung my eyes as the weight of the truth settled. This was more than a personal loss. It was a burden I had to carry for the village and for my son. Eli's spirit began to fade, but his last words gave me hope. "Find the elders. Repair the pact. Bring peace." I clenched my fist, determined. The path ahead was dangerous, but I knew I couldn't turn back. For Eli, for the living, for the dead. The first light of dawn broke over the village as I emerged from the river, exhausted but resolute. The weight of Eli's truth pressed on my heart, but also sparked a flicker of hope. I gathered the village elders, their faces etched with worry and years of silence. Together we prepared to repair the ancient pact, a ritual long forgotten. As the sun rose higher, we stood by the river's edge, chants filling the air, smoke curling toward the sky. I wore the carved mask, feeling the spirits close around me. Then a sudden calm settled. The river's surface shimmered like glass, reflecting a sky free of clouds. From the water, a gentle figure appeared. Eli smiling softly, his spirit finally at peace. Tears streamed down my face as I realized the battle was over. The broken pact was mended, and the restless spirits were freed. The village breathed again, and I knew life would never be the same. Though the pain remained, a new dawn had come, one filled with healing, love, and the promise of peace.